I am about to watch the last episode of My Hero Academia. This used to fit a lot better back in my UA days. Shonen Jump manga. For the noobs, manga is essentially Japanese comics, and Shonen Jump is a weekly magazine that features various chapters from various artists who create manga. It's essentially become an entire genre in and of itself. Shonen meaning young boy, and Jump meaning So to sum it all up, Shonen Jump is basically a mostly action-oriented genre targeted towards young boys. And it's a genre that spans all the way back to the late 1800s, with one of the very first shonen magazines being titled Shonen Sekai. And Shonen Jump would be a magazine that would cover many a demographic. Action comedy, sports, gay. While being Japan's most versatile and most popular manga magazine, it wouldn't really hit global success until the big three. Naruto, which would be like your D-Wade, a lot of fun, built for longevity. Bleach, or your Chris Bosch, and never really got the chance to peak, we'll say, before it left the league. And of course, One Piece.
LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James.
As you can see, there was a few more than just One Piece. These manga series debuted in the late 90s to early 2000s and went on to popularize not only manga, not only anime, but arguably Japanese culture across the world over. They inspired millions with their rich worlds, deep characters, and unforgettable and surprisingly emotional action scenes. But they inspired none more than a young Japanese boy named Kohei Horikoshi. Horikoshi had an immense fascination with shonen manga as well as superhero comic books from America. And this led him to creating a one-shot manga in 2008 titled Boku no Hero, or My Hero. A one-shot manga volume is a singular volume of manga. As you can see here, there is a number here that indicates the volume that you are reading, and a one-shot doesn't have a number because it is simply one volume with nothing to follow after you are done reading. However, there are times where a single one-shot can lead to an entire series. My Hero would be one of those cases, leading Kohei Horikoshi to creating his most well-known and best-selling manga series to date, My Hero Academia. There are very few connecting threads between My Hero and My Hero Academia, but I would say the most glaring similarity is that both of these stories take place in a world that revolves around superhero culture and how these superpowered beings interact with and change what would be a more normal functioning society.
Assault, robbery, and the illegal use of powers during rush hour traffic. You are the incarnation of evil!
My Hero Academia is about a quirkless boy named Izuku Midoriya living in a world where 80% of the population has and hones powers called quirks. You have quirks ranging from being able to turn into a giant, to super strength, to being a tree. That sounds a lot like Sky High. Midoriya would come into contact with his favorite and number one hero in the entire world, All Might. A super strong, almost father figure that coaches Midoriya into becoming the hero he always wanted to be. Yeah, that's Sky High. It's not Sky High. It's not. After inheriting All Might's quirk, Izuku Midoriya is accepted into one of the most prestigious hero academies in the entire world. And this is where he would learn to hone his abilities against villains and rivals with explosive quirks. Alright, it's Sky High. It's f***ing Sky High. Kid without powers living in a world of superheroes and villains with powers, then gains powers and attends a high school of superpowered students. This is a very familiar premise, but one that begins to feel more distinct season after season. As season 2 approached its final episode, Funimation... Does anyone remember Funimation? I really miss that streaming service. Funimation announced that they would be hosting a season 2 red carpet finale at a local AMC in Grapevine, Texas.
And we are here at the movie theater going to see the premiere of the finale of My Hero Academia, the second season. There is the poster.
Yes, we're inside the theater now, guys.
The premiere would be completely free. Free screening, free merch, free concessions, free everything.
Okay. Oh, yay, we get posters!
And best of all, most of the voice cast was going to be there to watch it alongside the fans.
Yeah. So, keep you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit. Yep, I'm videoing.
Alright.
Yeah.
I am now officially late. You're lucky.
But why Grapevine, Texas? Well, Funimation headquarters was actually located in Flower Mound, Texas. So like all of the English dubs that you enjoyed from Dragon Ball Z to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, these were all basically recorded like a few towns over from me. This of course all changed when Crunchyroll took over Funimation in 2022, and my dreams of becoming an anime voice actor died that day. But for a second there, living in the DFW area was pretty advantageous for an anime fan, and it especially felt so on that day of the Season 2 finale. Despite having just started My Hero Academia a few weeks prior, I decided to drag myself up to the AMC to the red carpet premiere and watch the Season 2 finale a few days early alongside the cast and many local fans. And it ultimately made My Hero Academia one of the most nostalgic shows in my lifetime. And that is correct. If you thought in any sort of way that I was bamboozling you or going to hate on this show in any sort of way, you are dead wrong. This is going to be a complete circle jerk on why I think My Hero Academia is one of, if not the best, new-gen shonen, well, okay, besides Chainsaw Man, but one of the best new-gen shonen we have, period. And if you have a problem with that, well, I hope you keep watching the video and hopefully I can change your mind. Although, I don't really know a lot of people that straight up hate My Hero Academia. If they hate anything about My Hero Academia, it's usually the fandom, which I kinda totally understand. MHA has a weird fandom where they will berate you for wanting, I don't know, lower taxes, then turn around and make a fanfic about Shoto and Endeavor butt-f***ing each other. I remember seeing a girl on Twitter just completely raging out over an artist who drew a female character in a more sexual manner, and when I clicked on this rager's profile, her entire page essentially consisted of My Hero incest. I'm getting really sidetracked talking about hentai, but the point is, most of us My Hero fans are just normal, shonen enjoying guys and gals who understand that Midoriya and Ochako are probably gonna by the end of the series. If you can get past the weird part of the fandom though, you will find an anime that entirely relies on the emotional motivations of the characters to carry your interest to the end. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take most of the common complaints I hear about the show and we're going to talk about them, because I do not think by any stretch that My Hero Academia is a bad anime with moments. I think it's an amazing anime with some problems, and we're going to talk about some of those problems. Some complaints I hear are like so easy to rebuttal against, like there being too many characters, despite the fact that, you know, the show's called My Hero Academia. It kind of promises in the title that there's going to be a large cast of characters because they're going to be in a, you know, academia for the show. Or I hear that the animation quality kind of wavers from season to season, even though Studio Bones was essentially producing and animating films for My Hero Academia throughout the entire show's production, from Two Heroes, Heroes Rising, World, Heroes Mission, and You're Next. Heroes Rising, that movie was amazing, okay? But ultimately, there was only really one complaint that I wanted to deep dive into and talk about because it ties into the very themes of My Hero Academia. This series has no stakes because none of the students die. While I understand this qualm, it always felt a bit short-sighted to me, like the people saying this weren't really paying attention to the story. A lot of people ask me like, oh, you do YouTube, what kind of YouTube videos do you do? And I don't ever really know how to answer that. I do like film discourse, I do film discussions, but ultimately I like to break things down that I really like and talk about what specifically makes them good. In my Squid Game video, I talked about how showing versus telling can have a really huge effect on the viewer. In my Attack on Titan video, I talk about the brilliance of cause and effect storytelling. In my Chainsaw Man video, I talk about how there are elements of that movie that feel like a meta-commentary. I wanted to talk about the stakes in My Hero Academia, but I want to be very, very clear when I say this. Stakes are not always about who lives and who dies, but stakes are always about one question: what can be lost? This doesn't mean characters don't get hurt. Deku is constantly shattering his bones using his quirk. He fights Muscular with 2 broken arms and continues fighting knowing he will be receiving no help. Mirio loses his quirk. Aizawa loses an eye and a leg. Midnight, Twice, and Crust all die. Bakugo literally flatlines. And all of this doesn't matter at all because it's not my point. This is not a dick measuring contest on which anime has the most deaths. If you want to watch an anime that has a ton of deaths, I recommend Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and Death Note. Hell, I mean, spoilers for Devilman Crybaby, but God literally destroys the entire f***ing planet at the end of that show. Everyone dies. That's like the biggest stakes of all time, right? MHA takes place in a world built on superhero culture. Take All Might, for example. His goal is to create a world where everyone can smile and live in harmony. So every time he stops a bank robber or saves a cat out of a tree, he's doing that to preserve his idea of a perfect world. You know how every time there's a fight in My Hero Academia and we get a flashback of the hero, you know, it kind of explains what led them to this moment, what it means for them to be in this fight at this very moment. This is called a character motivation. It's the thing that gets our character up out of bed every day, you know, him or her, and makes them do the thing they do.
I must remember
Remember why it is you clench your fist.
where I started.
Midoriya wants to become the symbol of hope. Bakugo wants to become the #1 hero and rise above his own ego. Todoroki wants to reclaim his identity. Ochako wants to support her family. Ida wants to honor his brother. Kirishima wants to overcome his fear of inadequacy. Endeavor wants to reconnect with a family that he himself broke.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I ever forgive you. You got it? You see, I'm not a kind person like Shoto is.
The unique thing about My Hero Academia is that these aren't just backstories. These are dreams that the story constantly challenges. The villains in My Hero Academia don't just attack the bodies of our heroes, they attack their very reasons for fighting.
I kept wondering what would annihilate your golden heart.
This is something that I feel like a lot of people that critique the series don't really get about Horikoshi's writing. The villains in My Hero Academia don't necessarily want to kill a hero. They want to kill an idea. The greatest stakes in My Hero Academia aren't physical or emotional, they're ideological. This is a war on beliefs. Heroes aren't just punching villains, they're fighting for the very soul of the world. Any anime can have a lot of character deaths, but I think it genuinely takes a great writer to create a world that always feels like it's on the brink of collapse. Take one of my favorite fights in the entire series. All Might versus All For One in Season 3. It's implied through showing over telling that All Might is the only living hero that has the strength to match All For One. All For One is a force of nature that All Might is single-handedly defending the world from, and if he were to falter in any way, the world would be doomed. If All Might loses, everyone loses. It's game over for any living being on the planet. That's a pretty good foundation for a high-stakes fight, if you ask me. I don't know, maybe that fucking sucks to you. As the fight intensifies, All Might is struck, injured, and for the first time ever, his true form, this shriveled husk of a human, is revealed live for everyone on the planet to see. Their hero, their symbol, is broken and is going to lose. And All Might's dream of a perfect world is going to die with him. But before All for One deals the final blow, an injured woman rises out of the ashes and calls out to All Might. We hear and see people around the world watching and cheering on the only person between them and annihilation. Despite his appearance, All Might kept his true form a secret for his entire life, thinking that if people saw him, they would reject him or even lose hope, but he had forgotten his purpose. All Might was the hero that showed up in the midst of disaster, smiling to show that everyone would be okay and everything would be okay. He inspired that idea in people, and when All Might reached his absolute lowest, when he revealed his true, pitiful form to the public, they didn't lose hope. They called out his name to let him know they still believe. And that is the core essence of the story. It's about inspiring better ideas to build a better future. And the stakes of the show entirely lie on how far are our heroes willing to go to hold on to those ideas and those dreams. I really gotta throw Trash Taste under the bus, and I hate to do it because I love those guys, but I have to end their careers here and now. I remember watching one of their earlier episodes and one of them saying,
I really fucking wanted All Might to win that fight and die.
Yeah,
like,
I wanted him to die.
And
as
I think that would have been fucking legendary.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't said
Top
that
10
word.
anime deaths.
God, I haven't said legendary in a fucking long
Legendary.
time. God, yeah. He should have died, I thought. It would have made, like, the next arc or so be... Because he's just kind of chilling around now. He's just kind of like the boomer who's like, yeah, I was cool once.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm talking about death and stakes and everything, because it seems like people just do not understand. No, All Might did not die in his fight with All for One. Something far worse happened. The symbol of peace is now quirkless and has to watch the world crumble around him. And there is absolutely nothing he can do about it, which is especially devastating because he's supposed to be the one that is always there for everyone. Do you see how killing someone off can actually affect stakes in a negative way? Plus, I never even really wanted most of the characters to die anyway. I didn't want Deku to die because I wanted to see him become the symbol of hope. I didn't want Bakugo to die because I wanted to see him and Deku go from rivals to brothers. I didn't want to see Yaoyorozu die because she has big boobs. Chill, liberal. It's called dark humor. Of course, none of this matters because in Season 7 of My Hero Academia, All Might shows up in a goddamn Iron Man suit and kicks All for One's ass, which is totally within character. A man who is powerless, unable to save his students or comrades, and it is completely eating him up from the inside. Remember episode 2 of the series when All Might explains that a true hero runs towards danger whether they have a quirk or not? This is him living up to his word. I freaking love All Might, dude. Like, this whole video essay thing honestly could just be like a Toshinori Yagi video essay. All Might video, that's what it is. There are so many more things I could touch on, so many more moments from the show that mean so much to me. Like I mentioned earlier, the Deku versus Muscular fight. I also mentioned Heroes Rising, the end of that movie. I don't hear anybody talk about the end of the movie. I feel like that is like one of the best fights in all of anime. But before wrapping up, I wanted to talk about one more complaint I heard recently online. My Hero Academia has nothing to say. This came from a video I saw on TikTok. It was a guy kind of explaining that My Hero Academia says a lot of things. It flirts with themes like abuse and social hierarchies and racism, but it never really delves into them. And, you know, this guy, in a way, is 100% right. But to me, also kind of like 100% wrong. There are many ways a writer can present different themes. A more popular method, especially amongst, creators my age, is social commentary. Social commentary is using a medium of art to spread awareness or give insight on any given topic. My Hero Academia essentially doesn't use any social commentary to present any of its themes. It expresses all of its themes through character arcs. We're talking symbolic versus literal. For example, MHA does engage with themes such as abuse, however, it does so through personal healing, not through moral lecture. It explores themes of discrimination through quirk ostracizing, instead of outright calling it racism. My Hero Academia is not a message delivery system, it's a character drama. I understand that we are all spoiled by anime like Attack on Titan, which takes a more direct, philosophical, and explicit explicit path when conveying its messaging, but MHA took a path that expresses social issues through characters rather than debate. Again, another really great example. Take Endeavor, a father that abused his children beyond the point of repair, and we get to see the long-term consequences of these actions. Trauma, resentment, fractured relationships, and generational damage. And guess what? After all the work Endeavor did to atone for his sins, season after season, we never got a dad redemption arc. MHA's point isn't, abuse is bad, let's talk about it. That's obvious. The point is, abuse creates wounds that linger for years, and even the abuser's regret can't magically fix that. For a shonen series about superheroes punching each other in the face, I feel like that's pretty profound. Despite all of this, My Hero Academia was never close to being a perfect anime. There's an overabundance of characters, the animation quality is inconsistent, the pacing is inconsistent, the story meanders at times. For some reason, there's an absurd amount of exposition when it comes to explaining characters' quirks and who they are and what their name is, but the one thing Horikoshi did, the one thing that made My Hero feel special, is that I never stopped caring about the characters. I always knew what they believed in, the world they wanted to create. This story didn't make me emotional because a character died. It made me emotional because we watched a generation of heroes rise in a world that their predecessors broke. So many people have argued or even attacked others for enjoying this series, which I find a little bit crazy. Was My Hero Academia always bad? Was it always great? Was it the peakest thing ever? Was it mediocre? Does it even have anything to say at all? As the final moments of this series played, I started to feel kind of grateful. I started to feel a little nostalgic. And I continuously had the same sentiment ring in my head. I've seen enough. My Hero fans, we won.